Pleasant Monday morning to one and all, and pleasant Monday morning. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to the Monday episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Monday, the 16th day of October 2023. Yes, we are here, we are ready to go. My colleague is in the studio. He has had some difficulties, but I'm sure he's going to overcome it. We have said that whatever the difficulties, we are going to do our best to overcome it and to be here to bring you the good, valid, credible news. So welcome, Monday morning, the start of a new work week. Hope you had a wonderful weekend and you are prepared for a productive week. So share the live, let them know that we are on this Monday. I suspect that some persons have not yet caught on to the Monday or the, what we'd want to call perhaps the irregular episodes. The regular is on Wednesdays, and we have had an episode on a Thursday, we had Sunday, and we had Mondays, and therefore we say we're going to be here to give you the information. So share the life. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice, let's celebrate, let's be glad in it. Let's enjoy and celebrate being in the land of the living. My colleague this morning when we were logging on, he got some issues, still got some issues. Guyana's, what we refer to as Guyana's best blackout in this area. I'm hoping that we are allowed to, or at least I'm allowed to continue with the program. We get blackout, we get all sorts of issue in this developing country, the boast about the rapidly developing nature of Guyana. Yet still we are plagued with blackouts every single day. But let me tell you, if perchance during the course of the next hour and a half or so, we get blackout, stick with it because I'm going to hustle and get some type of standby arrangement so that I can bring you the information today. So yes, here we are, and I am happy again to see the number of students that turn in on a Monday. Quite a number. The numbers have already mounted quite significantly for a Monday, and we are glad, we are happy, and welcome to this episode again. When I put out the notification, I indicated that we are going to look at the hypocrisy of the vice president. We're going to look at a part of that, but there an issue came up that I believe it's more pressing, and we're going to address that. I speak of the Venezuela border controversy. We're going to address it this morning because I believe that is important for us to know what is going on. So once we finish the introduction, once we finish the roll call and some other issues, we're going to go straight into that Venezuela border issue. And if time permits, we're going to go into the hypocrisy of the vice president. So welcome one and all again. Welcome. Share the live. Everyone should be sharing. Leslie, you're a bit late. Better late than never. So here we are. Let me run the roll call quickly, because we have lots of students in this already, but it's important. We have agreed that it's important that we do roll call. First student in this morning was Sydney, followed by Sean. Welcome, Sean, again. Permission is granted for you to fall in. My squad mate, Carville, was here at 6:28. Pauline came in next. Ulrich, Orly, I hope you're watching the cricket to see what's going on. Vibord came in next. Then we have what I suspect is a new, at least he is commenting for the first time. One Love is here. I don't know if it's an E or a she. One Love. Then we had Ian, regular, never miss a program. Patricia is here. She don't miss it all the way from New Jersey. Sharad, can't recall seeing this person before. Welcome. Felicia is here. Joan, Raul was here very early, came in at exactly 7 o'clock this morning. Kenneth was next in schoolyard. John came in. So the Condor me says. Queenie, West Coast Barbie is very much present. Charlene, not a regular in the house. Tessa, always here, ready and willing. George, my countryman, is in the house. Como from New Jersey, 8218, Como from New Jersey. Jakey, welcome, Jakey. Welcome. Wayne is in class. Machu came in next. Family Music is in. He came in at 7:38. Winston Arthur from the UK. Welcome, Winter. Winston, I know it's going to be what? Afternoon at your place there. Ballard, is here, all the way from Linden. Barlet, you missed class on Wednesday, boy, there's a fine. Maureen is here. Vibord from the East Bank is in class. Denise, Terrence, 9135, very much in class. 9407, Buxton is here. 9414 is here as well. Courtney is here. Joy came in next. Scary. Brian. Or you see the amount of, you see the number of students we have in class. 10025 Schwartz. Then we have my next squad mate 9556 Taylor. Patricia is here in class. She's waiting. She's waiting. She wants to know what is update and what is occurring on your homeland. We will give you what we know. We will tell you what we know. Another squad mate, Doreen 349 is here with me. Barbara is in class as well. Aileen is in class. Umpire Aileen. Evelyn is in class. Rohan 12863. 12863 Rohan Jawar is ready. Johnny, Isabella, Pamela. Then we have Gordon from Canada, 6659. Collins, Gordon is here. Wayne from the UK is here. Francis is from Melanie, but right now he's in Queens, New York. Sheena, Valieta, more pronounce it correctly. Danny, 9731. Danny is in class. Then we have Daniel, he says number 15847, waiting. 12505 is here in class. And as I said, Chilo is here too. Oren from the UK is here. Rhonda. And then we have Philip, Magnell, Bort. And when we went live, Janice was the first in line in class. Then we had Raul, we had Bonita, we had Lynette from Barbados, William, Neil, Diamond Star, and the list goes on. We also had Mario Weston Montague in class. Colin Popo is here as well. Ether came in, and we are ready to go. We are ready to go. Now, let me say to you, as I start, where do I start? I start, well, I'll tell you that, let me update you with what is going on. The first thing, you know, we like to make these announcements. Is not, we don't find any pleasure in doing so, but we have to tell you what is going on. We have to announce the passing of retired Assistant Commissioner Gershom Prince. You know, Crown Prince, he was known as Crown Prince. Gershom Prince, his number was 5405. I remember Gershom very, very well. What a lively character he was. You understand, he passed, I think it was on Saturday, maybe at his, on Tuesday on the East Bank of Demerara. So Gershom passed, and we are going to bring you additional information as it becomes available. So I want to take this opportunity to express condolences to his relatives, friends, and all his squad mates and other members of the force. Yes, the Crown Prince is no more. The Crown Prince, we all have fond memories of the Crown Prince in Essequibo. I remember he was in Borbies, and he served in many, many, many areas. A very lively character. And on a happier note, I want to say happy birthday to I don't know if he's on the live, Simeon Gorick. Simeon was an officer in the army, and then he came across National Guard, came into the force, and Simeon is celebrating his birthday today. And we have some recent birthdays, belated birthday greetings to my very good friend, Selwyn Peters, attorney from Canada. He recently celebrated a birthday. We also had a birthday recently celebrated by retired Commissioner of Police, my good friend Winston Gordon Felix. His birthday was yesterday. We also had the birthday of retired Superintendent Owen Trotz, recently celebrated a birthday. And then we have a dedicated student, former member, retired Sergeant Natasha. Natasha is always, Marks is always on this program. She celebrated a birthday yesterday as well. So I want to wish you guys long life, prosperity, health, strength, and that you many, many more birthdays. So those are for the birthdays. You know, we did tell you too last week that we had court matters. I had court matters coming up last week, Friday. It was a continuation of the battle with Karim Bash, the civil lawsuit. Pre-trial hearing continued last week, Friday. that didn't last long because the judge indicated, well, submissions were made, and the matter is to be tried on the 27th of this month, and the judge is going to rule on the submissions before the commencement of the trial. And then again, tomorrow, the 17th, the magistrate in the sexual assault matter, the sexual assault, those false allegations against me, the magistrate is set to deliver a ruling. You know, many months ago, some submissions were made, and the magistrate is to rule on those submissions. I think that is tomorrow. I'm not sure what time is it. Might be 11 or thereabout. But that is how the court matters are shaping up. So we had the Friday, and now we have one tomorrow. So to keep you updated. And let me say, you know, Ulrich and all of these people, cricket yesterday, CC, Afghanistan beat the defending champion England, and it's no easy victory, you know. Well, it's an easy victory for them because what? They beat them by 69 runs. In an ODI, 69 is a big margin. It's a big margin. They beat England by 69 runs yesterday, defending champion. There's a game I'm going now with Australia and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka made 209, and Australia look on course to pull that down. So the thing is eating up, man. The thing is eating up. I enjoyed the game yesterday. I enjoyed that game yesterday when the underdogs defeated the defending champions. And remember, this is not the first big upset in the Cricket World Cup. Some of the pundits are saying that perhaps it's the biggest upset ever. But I remember back in 1996, Kenya beat West Indies. West Indies had Brian Lara, Courtney Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, Jimmy Adams, a lot of stars, and they were beaten. And if you recall, not some time ago, Ireland beat England when O'Brien made that brilliant 100. So you have had these, every World Cup, every global event, you have upsets, every single global event. And I want to suspect that yesterday's upset was not the last. I suspect you got to get more. So let's sit back, get our popcorn, our Coke, our beers, and enjoy the game. We are still we are not there, so I don't think the emotions are going to be the same. But us cricket lovers will continue to enjoy the game. Now, as we are on cricket, I want to congratulate Aileen. She's on the live. Excuse me. Aileen Norton. She said for being inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame, for being the first female West Indian fully certified cricket umpire in the USA. Aileen, who is on the live. Congratulations to you, Aileen. I remember you saw umpire in Guyana here, and then I remember you went to the States. I recall seeing games on Saturday, and you were there. So that's a fantastic achievement to Aileen. Congratulations. Keep the good work up. You want to get on to the panel now. You want to get on someone of these panels. So keep up the good work. Congratulations to you. Now let me bring in my colleague. Hope he has overcome some of the audio difficulties he has had this morning. CC, welcome.
Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living. I have some difficulties.
We're not hearing you at all. The static is interfering, and we can't hear you at all. So while CC tried to sort himself out, let me go on with the program. Now let me say this. We reported on the matter here last week or before the last of this doctor who's alleged to have raped a pregnant Venezuelan woman. The police are looking for him and they cannot find him. I saw a report recently which suggests police went to his known address and they were unable to locate him. And the question therefore is asked, why no wanted bulletin for this doctor? The police have shown an inclination in recent times to issue wanted bulletin for even when they know where people are. Even when they know where people are, even when they have not made any attempt to contact those persons, they go ahead and they issue wanted bulletin. So why isn't a wanted bulletin issued for this doctor who is accused of raping a pregnant Venezuelan national and is, based on the report, seems to be trying to evade the police? That is grounds That is reasons. You have reasons. You have his name and all of that. I show you that picture because I understand he was employed at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. Why not a wanted bulletin for him? Why? So again, it seems as though certain things are weaponized, wanted bulletin, and these things are weaponized against certain persons. We have a man who is accused of rape, a serious offense, not according to the police because they don't classify that as serious offense, but we know that it is a serious crime, and it is clear that this doctor, even his name has not been made known. And again, in recent times, police quick to point out, or to announce the names of persons who are suspect. Suspect, imagine that. They're giving the names of suspect. And here you have a doctor accused of rape, and no wanted bulletin is issued for him. Let me see if CC is able to get back in at this stage. CC, try again there, please.
I'm hearing you clearly, but
Started out good, but then still a lot of static coming and drowning out your audio altogether. When you started out, we can hear you. I heard you saying that you can hear me, but thereafter it was here static in the line. Make a next try, please.
yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
No, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Right, yeah, the issue continues. The problem continues with CC there. We're going to try to get it resolved. You know, last week we had some issues as well, but last week the issue seemed to have been on my end because while I could not have heard what CC was saying, the students were saying yes, they were hearing him. So it seems to have been a problem at my end. Now this week is a problem at CC, and I know that he has blackout. He did say he had blackout. So let's hope that the current is restored. Since 6 o'clock this morning, imagine that. Since 6 o'clock this morning, he is suffering from power failure, and he up to now there's about 5 hours and counting. Now the next issue that we want to talk about. Last week again we mentioned Inspector Roop, Police Inspector Roop, the traffic man in charge of traffic on the region 4C, charged for a sexual offense in April of this year, still on the job, and the question was asked why he is not interdicted. Why? And I did say that in April when he was charged, because the normal procedure, let me explain what the procedure is. A rank is charged, a policeman of any rank is charged and placed before the court. And on the day that he is placed before the court, he's interdicted from that day. But it is a procedure. In the case of a rank from sergeant and down, once he appears, a report is sent to the commissioner of police. The commissioner of police will go ahead and interdict him from the day that he appeared in court pending the outcome of the charge. Normally say they put you on half pay pending the outcome of the charge, you are interdicted. In the case of an inspector and above, once you appear, a report is sent to the commissioner to the police service commission, and the same process applies. The person is interdicted from the day he or she appears in court. Now we know in April, when Roop appeared in court, the police service commission was not fully functional, and therefore the interdiction could not have been done at that time. But the service commission has been functioning now for months. For months since the Maniram Prashad became the chairman of the public service and thereby become ex officio member of the police service commission. And this man is still in the job. And people are saying that he was the driver of the squatter. People saying the man get connection. He used to drive the man who sits or who acts and who sits in the commissioner of police chair, what we refer to as the squatter, used to drive him. So the question is being asked if it's because of that relationship he's given preferential treatment. I don't know whether the report has gone to the police service commission or whether it has been held up in the police system, but this is unacceptable. The man charged with a serious offense, and this, according to what the release says, I was looking at it there, it says that he was charged with some sexual activity with a minor. Sexual activity with a minor, that is the allegation. And one would have thought that as soon as the police service commission became functional, that would have been one of the first things they would have done to have this person interdicted. But according up to last week, up to last week. And this, over the weekend, I was trying to find out if he's still on the job. No feedback. So can the corporate communication unit of the Guyana Police Force advise the public what is the position with Police Inspector Roop, who has been charged in April with a sexual offense and was still on the job up to last week? The public needs to know. The public needs to know. And again, I say, here it is, this man is on the job. And we have had cases, Damian McLennan and Christophe and Simon and the 3 policemen from Barbies. Well, they're slightly different. These 3, Christophe, McLennan, and Simon, on July 5th last year, charged in relation to the Quindon Bacchus killing and are dismissed from the very day that they appeared in court. They are dismissed from the force from that very day, illegally, unlawfully, unconstitutionally dismissed from the day they appear, July 5, 2022. And here is it, a man who is accused of a serious offense, not interdicted. He's sitting there. In the case of the ransom Bobbies, 3 constables involved. Somehow, an officer lost his service firearm, and the 3 constables are summarily dismissed. That is what we have. Different folks with different strokes, strictly animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That is what is going on. So we want to know, are we going to continue to ask the question, what is the position with Inspector Roop, who was the traffic officer, is perhaps the traffic officer in Regional Division 4C, that's East Coast, with the headquarters at Cove and John. I will continue to ask the question. And then we move on to the, there was one here for Mr. Conway. Well, let me see if he can think them. See, we dying to have you in. Let me hear if you're better now.
I'm hearing you loud and clear. I don't know if you're picking me up. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Well, we are hearing you a little better now, but you still get some static. So, welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Right, and the static coming again. The static coming and killing me. We can hardly make out what you're saying there. Yeah, static. Friends, you see problems again. Problem. I will slog on. I will go on. Now let me say this. The issue that I said we wanted to talk about this morning is this Venezuelan issue, the Venezuelan controversy. We have spoken about it before. We see where Venezuela has been making all sort of noise about the Essequibo. I saw something in Kaicho News which say that Essequibo, Venezuela is claiming 2/3 of Essequibo. That's wrong. Venezuela is claiming the entire Essequibo, which is 2/3 of Guyana. Let me understand it. The Kaicho News article says that Venezuela is claiming 2/3 of Essequibo. That is totally incorrect. Venezuela is claiming the entire Essequibo, which is 2/3 of Guyana. And I mentioned it before. We had the arbitration in 1899. Venezuela participated along with the Britain and the United States, and they agreed to the border, which allow at the current border, as it is, with Essequibo being a part of Guyana. They agreed. And in 1905, the records will show that they took part in the survey, which again mapped the border between Venezuela and Guyana and showed that Essequibo is part of Guyana. Right? That is 1905. In 1911, when Venezuela had their centenary, that's 100 years of independence, all the statements that were made by the foreign minister and all these people showed clearly that they accepted that the border as is, that is, Essequibo belongs to Guyana. They waited until 1962, on the eve of the independence, as Guyana was approaching independence, to bring up this controversy, to say that one of the persons who represented them in 1899 at the arbitration said that there was some deal between the British and the American. At that stage, they decided that they were not going to any longer accept the arbitration. And they have been going on all the years. In 1970, they actually, well, let me tell you, the border, there's an island, and it is in the news now, Ankoko, which is right up at the north of Guyana. According to when the survey was done, Part of Ankoko belongs to Guyana, and part of Ankoko belongs to Venezuela. Since 1966, Venezuela occupied the entire island. They came and they occupied the entire island, including the part that has belonged to Guyana. And since then, they have refused to move. In 1970, as Guyana was approaching Republican status, they had a bombardment at Etringbang. Venezuela opened fire with rockets and all sort of thing on Etringbang. I remember policemen who were there and soldiers had to run to cover. I remember very well Johnny Prasad, 6713, Johnny Prasad, who was a TSU, used to tell us young police of his experience at Eteringbang when the Venezuelans started to lay mortar and rocket fire over at in Guyana, destroyed Eteringbang police station. The policemen had to run to cover and all of that. I say this to tell you that in the most recent thing now, I saw on Friday, Kaicho News is reporting, and this on the 14th, they're reporting, Kaicho News has received information that the Venezuelan military is presently conducting exercises at its border with Guyana at Eteringbang, Cayuni River, Region 7. A number of war tanks and other military equipment along with troops were on Friday reportedly transported to the Venezuelan military base at the island of Ankoko, located opposite the Guyanese military base. Guyanese military base is at Eteringbang, Venezuela, Ankoko. It goes on to say among the equipment transported is a Cayman Porterello, a large military patrol boat built for rivers. The release says the Venezuelan government is yet to issue a public statement behind the move. However, well-placed sources said that the packing of troops and war equipment at the border with Guyana is solely an operation to eradicate illegal mining in its territory. That is what somebody said. The article goes on to say, despite claims, Kaichor News has been in receipt of a video allegedly made by Venezuelan soldiers at Ankoko Island, with them saying otherwise. In other words, they're saying it's not no military operation to deal with miners. The soldiers said in the video that they were making their presence felt at the border to protect and defend the Essequibo, a Guyanese territory that the Venezuelans are claiming as theirs. Venezuela's military exercise at the border follows a unanimous vote by the Venezuelan National Assembly in September, approving a consultative referendum, which paves the way for people to decide on the country's claim over Guyana Essequibo region. According to foreign media house BNN Newsroom, the decision to hold a referendum is a strategic one aimed at bolstering Venezuela's position on the international stage. It also seeks to involve and enlighten its populace about the ongoing territorial controversy in Guyana. That despite its calls for a peaceful resolution, Maduro is maintaining claim to 2/3 of Essequibo and said, well, that's what I'm saying, they're saying 2/3 of Essequibo, but the claim is not to 2/3 of Essequibo, the claim is to the entire Essequibo. It should be noted, however, that the result of such a referendum does not alter the status quo of ownership over the Essequibo territory, which rightly belongs to Guyana. So here it is, we have Venezuela continues to rattle and up the ante in this area, conducting military exercise. And a significant part here, it says that the referendum does not alter the status quo, which rightly belongs to Guyana. And it's saying that the people are being sensitized, like the Venezuelans, that Essequibo belongs to them. And I haven't heard a statement from the government, especially over the weekend. You want to tell me the government of Guyana is not aware of what is going on at the border? We have soldiers there. We have to have other assets there. They are not reporting that there's a buildup of Venezuelan troops at the border with Guyana on the island of Ankoko. You know, I recall when Russia wanted to invade Ukraine, there was this buildup over weeks. And the Americans were warning the world and Ukraine that Russia is poised for invading Ukraine. The Russians denied. They denied that. And yet still a few weeks down the line, when they believed that they had sufficient resources, they invaded Ukraine. So we cannot take this thing lightly. If Venezuela is massing troops along the border, we need to, the government need to make a statement. You have the vice president every Thursday cussing and abusing like Tantimor on the airwaves. You have the attorney general gone and NCN talking whenever he speaks there. You have the president recently press conference talking about passport. President talking about passport. And we have a serious situation on the border with Venezuela, and we are not hearing a from the people in authority. What happened to the National Security Advisor? What happened to the Chief of Staff? What happened to all these people? Was there a meeting of the Defense Board to discuss? From the time you hear Venezuelan troops were massing on the border, the Defense Board should have met to discuss what is to be done. The diplomatic community should have been involved, should have been alerted to the fact. And whether they claim or not, they have technology. I'm sure that the Americans or the British and these people can tell you whether they are massing troops there or not. We have satellites and all of those things that they can able to tell you what is going on. But I maintain that the government has been too silent with this Venezuelan issue. They have been too silent. I know that we want a peaceful resolution. I know that the matter is before the ICJ, but Venezuela seems that they're going to disregard whatever findings the ICJ makes because they are almost certain that the findings will go against them. So they had the referendum a week or two ago. Venezuela president met with all the top military and senior persons to discuss this very issue. And what have we in Guyana? Nothing, except for me and my two colleagues. I've been protesting. We have had 2 protests in front of the Venezuelan embassy last week, Tuesday and Thursday. And we're going to go there again tomorrow. We're going to go there again tomorrow, and we are going to continue to protest. And we are calling on the government of Guyana. We're calling on the president. We're calling on the vice president to make a statement, let the Guyanese population know what is going on with our territory as it relates to this aggressive stance by Venezuela. They're claiming that they to deal with minors. What type of rubbish is that? So it's only now these minors are there. Minors have been traversing the Cuyuni a long time, and they even complain that the Venezuelan military will extort them. They have to pay to pass certain areas and all of that. And we have been extremely silent. And I say again that we need to, I hope that they have been informing the international community as to what is going on. I hope that they do that. And if you are doing that, you have a responsibility to tell us, the Guyanese, as well. It's not to inform the international people that Venezuela has taken up this aggressive posture, but you have to tell us, the Guyanese population, what is going on and what you are doing. This thing is not about politics. This is making sure that us Guyanese are aware of what is going on so that we can rally our support behind the government. That is what we want, to rally support, because I have said repeatedly, this is not a political issue. This is not an issue with the opposition and the government. This is an issue that involves all of Guyana, and all of us patriotic sons and daughters must come out and show our support for the government. But we can only support the government if we know what they're doing. So if they are mum, they are dumb, they are not telling us anything, how do they expect us to support them? How do they expect? I made the point before, this is a matter should have been discussed at Parliament. This is how Venezuelan National Assembly call and discuss it. Should have been discussed, a matter of national importance. We should have statements being made. And again, this is not being aggressive towards Venezuela. This is seeking to educate the public. We have all the records on our side. The 1899 arbitral award. We have the issue of the survey in 1905. We have the 1911, them accepting. All of these things people should be told. And then I was reading only recently, refresh myself about what took place at Ankoko. Ankoko, a lot of people might not, again, I say, when the survey was drawn in, when the survey was done in 1905, and the border was drawn, it came true Ankoko. So part of Ankoko belongs to Venezuela, part of Ankoko belongs to Guyana. Venezuela in 1966, just before we got independence, took over the entire island. They took over the entire island of Ankoko, including the part that belongs to Guyana. and they have been occupying it ever since. In 1970, just before we gained Republican status, they started a big set of shooting up at the border there. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? So again, I say we are going to be out there protesting again tomorrow, and I am calling on all patriotic Guyanese, all right-thinking Guyanese to join us outside of the Venezuelan embassy, where we are going to make our voices known. We're going to make our voices heard that, hey, Venezuela belongs, Essequibo belongs to Guyana, not a blade of grass. Not a blade of grass. And again, I call on the government, I call on the president, I call on the vice president, the national security advisor, on all of these people to let us know what is going on. Because there's an audio circulating, a viral audio of somebody claiming that thousands and thousands, somebody sent it to me this morning, there are thousands and thousands of Venezuelan troops with military artillery, military material, massing on the border with Guyana. And we have a government that is completely silent. I have not heard anything. I've been looking out to hear what they're going to say. I have not heard anything from the government. So again, we as Guyanese have to make sure that our voices are heard and call on our leaders to let us know what is going on. Call on our leaders to let us know what is going on. I hope, I say again, I hope that they have alerted the international community to this aggressive action by Venezuela. And to sit there quiet, you have a foreign affairs minister, I don't hear anything about him. So it's not time for him to at least make a statement to let us know what is going on. If it is that it is not true, then you must let people know, well, this thing about this tape that is circulating to say that the soldiers, Venezuelan soldiers, are massing at the border. Tell us, Mr. Foreign Affairs Minister, tell us, Mr. President, tell us, Mr. Vice President, we have National Security Advisor. Tell us what is going on. The Guyanese public needs to know what is going on. I'm sure you want the support of the public. And if you want the support of the public, you have to tell us, you have to take us in your confidence and tell us what is going on. Not to make anyone panic or anything like that, but to give us the information so that we are aware what is going on at our border. We want to know. We want to know. So again, I say, this is an issue that we got to keep on the front burner. And we are going to be there tomorrow from 10 o'clock. The embassy is located in Thomas Street. We're going to be there again from 10 o'clock tomorrow to protest this aggressive stance by Venezuela. We're going to come back to this a little later. But let me say this in moving on. Let me see if CC is ready to come in again. I'm going to keep trying to see if I can get him in, CC.
Yeah, so I'm listening clearly, but I don't know how my stuff is working there.
We hear you, but not very clearly. We are hearing you, but not very clearly. Let me hear what you have to say at this stage. Let me hear if you can hear you any better.
I'm saying that it is alarming that with all the reports of aggression by Venezuela, the government is very, very silent. A wall of silence with the Venezuelan community. And also our security services, what they are doing. We have the Regional Intelligence Committee, we have the Influence Intelligence Committee, we have the Special Branch, we have the Joint Intelligence Committee, we have Army Intelligence, we have Central Intelligence Committee, and the one that Nanga is trying to legalize the National Intelligence Security Agency. So what are they doing? Are they not gathering intelligence for the government for us so that we can take appropriate action? I was at station, I was at the territory, the officer in charge, someone else in charge of Venezuelan planes was circling the station of the ship several times, several days, and also the same thing that in Manila. I'm certain that they do not have Titan, they do not have another So, you do not put camera, you do not put at locations all across the place. And then I saw today's paper called that some Guyanese protesting for the Palestinians. What is happening in the Gaza Strip? Guyanese protesting there. And here it is that Venezuelan going for the whole of the river and not a protest apart from the EU and another personal, no protest whatsoever. What really is going on? We don't wait until they take over. No. It's time for action. And I say not a blade of grass, Paul, not a blade of grass. Time for us to move into action. I said previously in the program that we should look at our dying diplomacy. I don't know if it's been quietly done. Our intelligence, put our intelligence forces to work with that intelligence locally and overseas. And then we look at our military that includes our joint services. What are they doing? Are they training them? Are they getting intelligence? And then we got to look at our economic, our economy, the major part of the economy there in the ocean. And that's where Venezuela is exploding for total slackness, total and nonsense. We need to get going. The Israelis, they didn't take any note of what about Hamas, and they make sure we get it that we need to be proactive and we need to have our people let our intelligence work, let it work and get our soldiers and police properly prepared, sensitize them, but no, people quiet a thick wall of silence for it.
Yeah, thick wall of silence. I mean, your audio was not of the best, but I can make out what you were saying. And a very important part. I didn't remember that part. Is that Guyanese are protesting what is going on with Israel and Palestine or Hamas or Hezbollah. They are protesting that thousands and thousands of miles away, and not a single, apart from us who are outside there on two occasions. Nobody am protesting the fact that Venezuela want to come and take over 2/3 of the country, and the 2/3 that are taken over is the part with all our or most of our resources, and they're quite amazing. They are protesting what is going on with Israel and Hamas and in Palestine, and they are not. So all we can say, perhaps they are not that patriotic. They are not that patriotic to see that, look, what is being threatened there is the very existence of Guyana as we know it, and they are quiet. But, let's wait and see. Again, I say tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we are going to be there. Come sun or come hell or high water, we are going to be there again to protest. We go there at 10 and we last. Sometimes we go for about an hour or so, and we are going to be there again tomorrow. And all are invited to join. Come with your placard. We have limited number of placards, but come with your thing. Your mere presence should be good enough. We got to send a message because, on the 2 days that we have been there, we have gotten coverage from the media. That is not the purpose, but the Venezuelans themselves have been coming out and taking picture and taking video. So they're sending back, I'm sure, to Caracas to tell them at least a couple Guyanese protesting. And the people must be laughing. They say, oh, it's three of them on one occasion for protesting. They weren't serious. Let me do the thing. Maybe that is what emboldened them to say they're going to conduct a military operation or military exercise in the area at this time. So they may be emboldened by the fact that we are silent. The government is not saying anything. And maybe that emboldens them to say they're going to take this thing to another level. And again, I remind, when Russia wanted to invade Ukraine, they massed their troops on the border, and the American satellites picked it up and advised the world and Ukraine that this thing is going to happen. They were denying, some of them were in denial mode, including some people from Ukraine. And then eventually, Russians rolled into Ukraine. So let's hope that our people are prepared for whatever happens. You can't have a hostile neighbor massing troops on your border and you stay down quiet in this place. You're not telling anybody nothing. You're not making any statement. The chief of staff and all of them, they will, me must get diarrhea by now, because when the politician call him, accuse him wrongfully. He was emotionally distressed and he filed a police complaint and the politician is charged. So when you hear that Venezuelan massing at the border, that was the diarrhea time. Toilet paper must be sell out in the town. But on a serious note, we need to get up and do what is necessary. Again, I say we are not calling for any aggression against Venezuela. We are saying that it is time that we make our position known. It's the time that we inform the Guyanese public as to what is going on. Because they are quiet and you have an audio circulating which speaks about thousands of Venezuelan troops on the border, and not NCN, Newsroom, all of these organs, Chronicle, I call them organs, Times, all of these people pieces, nothing, not a thing. You're not hearing from them. Not a thing. The vice president every Thursday goes there, he rants and he wails, including last Thursday. Not a word about the Venezuelan issue there. President had a recent presser, he talking about passport. President talking about passport. So the chief immigration officer doesn't have a voice. The Home Affairs Minister can't talk about passport. The president talking about passport. And you have a big, serious border issue with a neighbor, a hostile and aggressive neighbor, every day up in the ante. And that is what we have. Now, moving on. I saw a statement in the newspaper. And the headline says, Jagdio says he didn't know court marshals were looking for him. Oh, my Lord. Let me change my position and get a little comfortable. The headline says that Jagdio says he didn't know court marshals were looking for him. You know, there's a report from the in one of the dailies, I think it was Tabro, that former Accountant General Anal Gulsaran filed a civil lawsuit against Vice President Jagdio for basically defaming him. It says that they made 8 attempts to serve the documents on Jagdio, and Jagdio is avoiding service of the documents. And the man says at the press conference last week, Thursday, that he did not hear. And here, let me read part. Vice President Jagdio told a press conference on Thursday that he did not know that court marshals were looking for him to serve court documents in relation to a libel suit filed by former Auditor General, Anand Gulsaran. The response comes days after Gulsaran told members of the media that he made 8 unsuccessful attempts to serve the document on Jagdio. The former Auditor General said that after the matter was filed on September the 22nd, 2023, he visited Jagdio's office and home on several occasions accompanied by a court martial, but was unable to serve the document. He recalled that specifically on September the 25th, 2023, he attempted to serve the writ on Jagdio at Freedom House around 9:30 a.m., but they were told that he was not there. The duo, that is the court martial and Gulsaran, then visited the office of the president, where they were informed that the vice president was not there. On September the 27th, Gulsaran said he and the court martial returned to Freedom House with the intention of serving Jagdio, but he was not there. The duo also visited Jagdio's good-for-walking East Coast Demerara home and was told he was asleep and could not be disturbed. On September the 29th, 2023 at 1:30 p.m., Gulsaran and the court martial visited Freedom House, where they were told that he was not there. Thereafter, they visited the office of the president, where a guard on duty contacted Jagdio's secretary. The marshal spoke with the secretary, who inquired whether the visit was in relation to Gulsaran matter. The marshal made it clear that she was not in a position to discuss the matter, and it was then that the secretary told the marshal that Jagdio was not at the office. However, at a press conference on Thursday, Jagdio refuted the claims. He instead accused Gulsaran's liar, Kemraj Ramjatan, of lying and making false claims for publicity. And here, one of the kicker, he says that the quote, I see Stabrook News has been carrying the stories, but Ramjatan is a vile person. He is prone to lying. They what Jagdio is saying. Jagdio is saying that Ramjatan is a vile person and he is prone to lying. Now, let me tell you something. Based on what the article said about all the attempts, Jagdio was saying the lie. He didn't know about it. These people went to Freedom House. They went to office of the president. They went to his good for acting residence. And it's not the man who is making this allegation alone. When the marshal would have accompanied them. So the marshal lied too. He's saying Ramjatan lie. The people highlighted, the people identified time and dates when they went to these various places, and they can't get him out. What are you hiding for? Now, you make a nice on Thursday that you are public and the people know your itinerary and so on. You should have then indicated to them, Mr. Vice President, I am here now, let them come and solve it. Or tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I'll make myself available at whatever place for it to be solved. But he ain't go on to say that. He ain't going on. He calling Ramjatan vile and a liar. Well, I say this, when he called it vile and liar, I remember Lord Nelson, King Liar. King Liar. So it's one line man and the next line man. And I can give he the crown. He is the King Liar who says, don't show me the man, my tailor is boss. Just show me the corner where the fella pass and he can make a suit. That is Taylor. Well, having listened to having read, I know who I believe. I don't know who the students will believe, but I know who I believe in all that has been said to have transpired during this time since this September 22nd. September 22nd code thing. Why are you hiding? And he goes on to say that he can defend. How you can defend? Take the document. Let your lawyer deal with it. And then he making a ridiculous statement to say that they should leave it with the Attorney General. So, Mr. Ramjatan to point out this morning, the matter is not against Vice President Jagdeo, it's against Bharat Jagdeo, and there's a distinction there. If it's in his official capacity, then the Attorney General is the legal officer of the state, and he can deal with it. But in this case, it's against him, the Vice President Jagdeo. Body take your thing, all them enough talk, you're cussing out people every Thursday on the program. Don't run and hide. Do not duck and hide. Now moving on. Let me see if CC could get a piece of this. CC, I so sorry if you can't get in. Let me hear if you can hear you now again.
Yeah, Paul. I hear you clearly. But the thing is that the document got to be sure for trillions of views. I'm not leave it with his attorney. The number thing I know is when you show the document, you show it portion, or you leave it at his last and most leisure place of a board with someone of descriptive age, having read and explained the nature of the document and requested an early delivery. But that my batch of this year becomes because of 2014 that had delivered. But the idea to issue out personal service and he did in personal service. As you like, said, let them come for and say, I'll be available in some time or something, and let them solve differently. I can have my day code.
Yeah, that's true. Let me just say, personal service in this private lawsuits means personally, I remember back in 2010, when I retired, I made a statement with the Attorney General then. The Attorney General at the time sued me. He sued me. And I had traveled to the US and they brought the document. Charles Ramson Sr., he was the Attorney General at the time, sued me. They brought the document and they left it with my sister. And Rex McKay, who represented me, made a successful argument that because of this type of lawsuit, that is not determined, that is not deemed to be service. And the judge agreed. The judge agreed, say, you can't just leave it at the person's residence. This is not that type of document, like a summons or so. This is a civil lawsuit. And the documents have to be served personally. And the judge at the time deemed that the service wasn't proper. But what he did, he gave them the opportunity to serve it on me whenever they could find me. And I came home and accepted the service. I was in the States at the time. I came home and I accepted the service because I am not running and hiding like what Jack Dio is doing. Now, the next thing that I saw, which caused me, some of these things you want to laugh, but it's very serious business. Let me find me document here. Very, very serious business. And this is again on the 13th, a newsroom. I tell you, newsroom is mouthpiece for the PPP. Newsroom article on October the 13th, headline: Jack Dio condemns Vincent Adams's vile attack on CJ. Notes silence of civil society. When I see this thing, I couldn't believe what I was reading. I had to read again and again. People share this live. Yeah, share this live. Because y'all don't want to miss this part. Share this live. You don't want others to miss it. Share it. Share it. Share it, please. Papa say share 8 times. Well, yes, continue to share. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. Again, newsroom of October the 13th says, Jack Dio condemned Vincent Adams's vile attack on CJ, notes silence of civil society. And let me read the whole thing actually. A personal and vile attack meted out to Chief Justice Acting Roxanne George, SC, by opposition spokesperson and former head of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Dr. Vincent Adams, has not gone unnoticed. And equally alarming is the silence of civil society. Vice President Mark Jack Dio on Thursday drew attention to Dr. Adams's comments, which were delivered following the Chief Justice's recent ruling on flaring by ExxonMobil at a press conference hosted by the opposition. During his ranting, Dr. Adams, who seems upset that the ruling was not in his favor, accused Justice George of lack of knowledge, hiding under a rock, and defying science and common sense. And the court here saying such consequential decisions as this one clearly defies science, logic, and common sense. They're also quoting him saying, I can go on all day about the flaws in the honorable judge's ruling, in the honorable judge's decision, Dr. Adams said. Jack Dio believes these comments amount to a most violent personal attack on the CJ. And he's quoted here saying, if someone from the PPP, the Attorney General, or any person has said this, the entire media would be in uproar. Civil society would be calling for the person's head, and they would be dragged before the court for contempt, Jack Dio said at a party press conference on Thursday. The vice president reasons that under no circumstances should Dr. Adams be granted a free pass. And I asked the question, is that a dog whistle? Is that another dog whistle when the vice president says that reason that under no circumstances should Dr. Adams be granted a free pass? He goes on to say, and the quote, besides defying the established science, this is quoting Dr. Adams, defying the established science, want us to be hiding under a rock to say that 20 plus BSCF is not harmful to the environment. Having the judge heard about climate change and the energy policies developed globally to cut back on gas emissions that affects climate change? Similarly, doesn't the honorable judge know that all of the major oil companies, including Exxon, have accepted that gas emissions are harmful to the environment and committed to cut back on such emissions? But Jack Dio also feels that Dr. Adams is not rightly positioned to comment on these matters. Here again, read about. But Jack Dio also feels that Dr. Adams is not rightly positioned to comment on these matters. And he said apart from Adams' short political stint at the EPA, he has no experience in environmental matters. He is an AFC member they took and put to head the EPA. He made a mess of some of the licenses there and came out, and suddenly they are reborn. The smartest people in the world. They have an opinion on everything. Jack Dio saying people have an opinion on everything. Let me read this thing. And then he goes out and say, I don't begrudge him. He can talk as much as he wants until he turns blue. He is a Guyanese. He can do that, and he is free. And this is a free country, Jack Dio said. He said what must be addressed is the apparent duplicity in the media and so-called civil society. But I got to dissect this thing. Jagdio calling out Vincent Adams. Vincent Adams is a real doctor. Is a real doctor, qualified in the subject that he speaks on, environmental protection. And Jagdio saying that the man, well, apart from his political stint in the EPA, he has no experience in environmental matters. That's what Jagdio is saying about Dr. Vincent Adams. That is what he's saying about Dr. Vincent Adams, that Dr. Vincent Adams has no experience in environmental matters. He called it out because he spoke out about the decision that the judge rendered. He's saying that the decision flies in the face of science and all the technology. And I'm saying that Dr. Vincent Adams is qualified to speak on that subject, as far as I know. He's qualified based on what I know. There no one else around in the country, in the government, as qualified as Dr. Vincent Adams to speak on environmental issues, including the flaring. None. But let me say this. This is, remember the man said he shouldn't call out. And I had to do my research. And here, this is an article, May 19, 2023. And here what it says. Guyana women lawyers condemn Jagdio Nandalal's criticism of the judiciary. Jagdio on Thursday criticizing Vincent Adams because he spoke out against a decision rendered by the Chief Justice. Right? This has to do with the flaring by ExxonMobil. Because Vincent Adams' position, and the world position of Vincent Adams, is that flaring contributes to the emission and global warming. Right? So somebody challenges it in court, the judge ruled in the favor, said nothing wrong with that. Basically, that is what it is. Vincent Adams, the expert, said that the ruling is flawed. The ruling goes against science. Jagdio said that he should not. He called it what he said about this vile attack. He referred to it as a vile attack, and a vile attack meted out to the Chief Justice. But here's the story, as I said, May 19, 2023. Vice President Jagdio, as well as Justice Minister and Attorney General Nandalalal, on Thursday said that they had the right to comment on court's decision in the wake of a stinging condemnation by the Guyana Association of Women's Lawyers and Canadian Guyanese attorney Selwyn Peters. The Guyana Association of Women Lawyers on Thursday strongly condemned criticisms of City Magistrate Leron Daly for dismissing the case of misconduct in public office against former Finance Minister Winston Jordan, sparked off by Attorney General Nandalal's statements that the ruling was contrary to an unchallenged High Court decision in the almost identical matter. Guyana Association of Women Lawyers take this opportunity to remind members of the public that the members of the judiciary should be allowed to independently perform their functions. Consequently, any disparaging remark or attacks, whether personal or otherwise, may expose judicial officers and their offices to ridicule. Further, the statement, which have been published and communicated through various media platforms, widen the scope of the attention of the negative comments. Nandalal said, he's quoted as saying that the statement is described as genuine critical commentary. When Nandalal criticized is genuine critical commentary. When Vincent Adams talk is vile attack on the Chief Justice. For his part, let me tell you what Jagdio now. Tell what Jagdio. For his part, Jagdio was critical of High Court Judge Sandil Kisu's decision against the Environmental Protection Agency that could see ExxonMobil having to suspend its oil production from the Liza one well if unlimited insurance or parent company guarantee is not provided. On Thursday, Jagdio claimed that he was, listen to this carefully, students. Again, Vincent Adams can't talk because Vincent Adams, when he speaks about this matter, is an attack, is a vile attack on the TJ. Hear what Jagdio said. He called out Justice Sandil Kisoon when the decision did not go in favor of Exxon. Now, again, the government, Exxon. They sided with Exxon and called out Justice Kisoon. And Jagdio is reported as saying that he was exercising his constitutional right to freedom of expression by making observations about a decision and could not be considered as personal attack on the judge. It's not personal attack, is constitutional right. And then he's quoted there as saying, if citizens of a country, and more so those who are part of the public policy, can't comment on a judgment that is made, then you are taking away some of the freedoms. I have that. Well, they write something. I have that are enshrined in the Constitution. And then he goes on to say, clearly, the Lord Magistrate erred. This is Jagdio. Jagdio who's saying Vincent Adams can't comment. Because you know what we're talking about. Now, Jagdio, clearly, the Lord Magistrate erred in law by refusing to follow the decision of the Lord Chief Justice. Now, but Jagdio get a law degree for say that the Lord Magistrate erred in law. He's talking about law now. He says again, let me read about the Lord Magistrate erred in law by refusing to follow the decision of the Lord Chief Justice. Such an elementary, egregious error has excited great public concern within a few hours and inevitably will shake the public confidence in the administration of justice. That is what the Vice President is saying. So he can comment on law, even though he's not a liar, even though he's running from service of a document. But Dr. Vincent Adams, who is an expert on the environment and protection and so on, can't comment on something like that. Can't comment on something like that. And let me go on. You talk about different standards being applied to different persons by the administration of justice. I agree with that. There are different standards being applied to different persons. That's why some people are charged for pissing upon a fence, and a man who's alleged to have raped, groomed, and bugged a 16-year-old girl can't get charged. Different standard. Different standard indeed, Mr. Vice President. That is why the police can want a liar, a doctor, for raping a pregnant Venezuelan woman. A no wanted bulletin is issued for him, even though there's evidence that he's evading arrest. No wanted bulletin. So yeah, you're right. You got different standards being applied to different persons by the administration of justice. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I agree with you on that one. And then attorney at law, listen to this, because when the release was issued and the criticism and the attack on Justice Kissoon, attorney at law Selwyn Peters was not appreciative of the Attorney General's attitude and wrote to the Registrar of the Court of Appeal out of concern that statements by Nandalal were fueling attacks on the local judiciary. In his correspondence to the court, Attorney Peters said that statement issued by the Attorney General have subjected the judiciary to attack, including mobbing and cyberbullying on his Facebook page. Providing the court with evidence of the attacks, the attorney pointed out that the judiciary has been labeled as corrupt, with some even calling for the magistrate to face disciplinary action. Peters said this is the third time in recent times that utterances of the Attorney General have led to such attacks. In his letter, Peters pointed out that Nandalal was treating precedents in a convenient manner, noting that, I quote, "You can't be selective in these things, Anil, as it brings your very credibility into question and simply adds more currency to the criticism that was leveled in your direction by the Caribbean Court of Justice last October," end of quote. Peters pointed to several cases to which Nandalal should take notice and pointed out that the Court of Appeal, in making their decision, took into consideration not only issues of jurisdiction, but also the substantive issue. Then Peters said, stop attacking the judiciary, including the magistracy. Peters implored the Attorney General and reminded him of what the Caribbean Court of Justice said in October 2022, quoting, "Concerning conduct for which you have not taken responsibility and start to blame it on a Facebook administrator, even though court judgment goes to the attorneys on record and not to Facebook administrators," end of quote. Quote again, "The premature unauthorized disclosure of the result of the litigation is inexcusable. It betrays the confidence of the court and given the fact that it emanated from the Facebook account of a persons holding the office of Attorney General, it serves to bring the entire administration of justice into disrepute. End of quote. He goes on to say, Vice Peters, let the judiciary with its limited strained resources do its work. There are no case against Jordan in the same manner there was no case against you when you were accused of wrongfully stealing those law books from the Attorney General's chamber when you left office in 2015. If you are not satisfied with the decision, there is a mechanism to appeal it upwards. You need to stop what you are doing on issues on the news and your press releases. It does nothing to enhance your standings in society nor confidence in the judiciary. That is Selwyn Peters calling out Anil Nandalal for attacking the magistracy and the judiciary. So when I talk about Jack Dio's hypocrisy, there it is. He calling out Vincent Adams, a qualified professional, for making a comment overruling. And you get Nandalal and he calling out. And may I finish there? I ain't done there. Let me read this one here too. This is December the 21st, 2021. All y'all, people might remember this. People might remember this. The headline is, Government Minister calls for Chancellor order judges to be dismissed. And it goes on, after Court of Appeal decision to air election petition. Local Government Minister Nigel Dharamlal, the same one. Local Government Minister Nigel Dharamlal has publicly called for the dismissal of Chancellor of the Judiciary, Yonette Cummins, and Justice Dan Gregory. Dharamlal's statement is the most frontal from a sitting government minister, although recently Attorney General Anil Nandalal made scathing comments about the judiciary. And then he said, the same two judges, this is what Dharamlal is saying. This is what Dharamlal is saying. The same two judges who rule that 33 is not the majority of 65. Their bias is obvious. They should be defrocked. That is what Dharamlal said in December last year about the Chancellor of the Judiciary and the Appeal Court judge. And it wasn't wrong then. Bharat Jagdeo didn't see the need to speak out or to call on civil society to condemn Nandalal, to condemn Dharamlal. But here it is, in his usual style, he sees it fit last Thursday to call Vincent Adams, qualified, professional, a real doctor, for speaking out. And you never got no constitutional rights then. This is not, Vincent Adams did not have a constitutional right. So when Jack Dio spoke out, he claimed that it is his constitutional right to speak out. But when Vincent Adams speak out, no, it's not his constitutional right. When Dharamlal spoke out, calling for the judges to be dismissed, to be defrocked, nothing, that was all well, that's all well and good. And they're talking about, that's why you say our different standards. Yes, we have different standards. Yes, we have different standards. The friends, family, and favorites have a different standard. Others are going to be called out, as you call out Vincent Adams. Others are going to be dragged before the court on trumped-up charges. And that's what's going on. That is what is going on. So I thought it important. To bring these things to your attention. I have more to speak on, but we already run hour and more than an hour and 15 minutes. And I don't have enough time to go into all the others. I have some other issues. Let me see if Mr. Conway can get a piece here now. Let me see if he get any better quality. If you can hear any better now.
Yes, back to Jack Dio. I can recall prior to the last election, Jack Dio said very clear he was very elusive that he was not sitting in any public office or political office. Lo and behold, he's now the vice president. And he gave him that he's the only vice president and he's the number one vice president, which is contrary to Article 102 of the Constitution. And here is what it says: the president may appoint vice presidents for the purpose of assisting him or her in the discharge of his or her functions. There's one. And two, If he or she is not otherwise the holder of any office of vice president, the holder of the office of prime minister shall be, shall by virtue of holding that office be a vice president, and he or she shall have precedence over any other vice president. Here we have Mark Phillips. I cannot recall anybody referring to Mark Phillips as prime minister and vice president, but Jadeo is the vice president, and he, among his actions, is the number one vice president. Only this morning I heard on a program referring to the second vice president. But the thing is, the man said that he is sitting over his political and public office, and here it is, he is the vice president. He is the number two vice president, but yet behaving like he's the only and number one vice president. So how could we believe a man like that? But it's true to form in the veterans and the Adams.
Yeah, my brother. We can hear what you're saying, but is that the best quality? So hope when we're gonna be here again on Wednesday, and hope we can pick up some of these things as well. You know, and you made an excellent point. You have a prime minister there who is a former chief of staff. And we are coming back now to this Venezuelan issue, and they're all silent. They are all silent. They're not saying a word. You have the chief of staff, the prime minister, former chief of staff of the Guyana Defense Force, the president, the home affairs minister, the squatter, the vice president. The man dedicating his time to attacking patriotic Guyanese people, right? Because that act of the people challenging this EPA thing is an act of patriotism, because all of us and the whole globe will suffer with this emission that they're allowing, with this flaring that they're allowing ExxonMobil to do. And Dr. Vincent Adams, an expert in that area, made some comments, and you would know he referred to the judge as honorable judge and all of that. But Jack Dio filed that as a vile personal attack on Adams. But when Dharmlal, the same Dharmlal, you know what I'm talking about? The same Dharmlal who was accused of rape, accused of buggery, accused of grooming, called on the for the dismissal of the chancellor and the appeal court judge. They were silent. When Jagdio himself attacked the magistrate in the Jordan case, he was exercising his constitutional right to freedom of expression. You see how two-faced these people are? How duplicitous they are? But when Vincent Adams, a qualified professional, speaks about it, that's a personal and vile attack on the Chief Justice. And this will need to be called out. You have to call them out when they come with these things. You have to call them out. So we are going to make sure that you are told. And you know, I like doing research. I'm doing the research and I'm reading these things to you. I'm reading what you said. When Nandalal attacked the Justice Kissoon, Canadian Guyanese lawyer Selwyn Peters felt compelled to write a letter to the registrar, I think it was, and complain. And the letter was accompanied by evidence where the people were on Nandalal's Facebook page, calling all the name, bringing the whole judiciary into disrepute. And they said nothing. And I'm sure if you go to your page now, those things are still there from Nandalal. But Jagduan see it fit to call you out. Jagduan see it fit to take down those things because it damages the reputation of the court. But when Vincent Adams starts, he's an AFC man who they just brings her and give the job and so on. That is what he is portraying. That is what he's portraying. And he of all persons, Jagdi of all persons, talking about qualification. In the same thing, he speaks about the magistrate going against the law. You know no liar. Bharat Jagdeo, the vice president, speaks on every issue under the sun. He's suddenly an oil and gas expert. He's a legal man because he's talking about issues in the law. I guess they're going to send him just now at the Red Road, at the place with that bulging. They're going to send him there. He's going to go all over. He is the man who portrays himself as the expert in all areas. But when a real expert like Vincent Adams talks about a matter that he has knowledge of, Jack Dio calling you. You see how this thing does go? You see how this thing goes? Folks, again, we got to stay alert. We have to stay alert. Venezuela is massing troops on the border with Guyana. That is a report that is circulating from people in the area. Have called and have said they are massing troops. The government of Guyana is silent. We haven't heard anything from them. Maybe they're doing things behind the scene. Maybe, let's give them that. Maybe they're doing things behind the scene. But behind the scene is not going to cut it. If Venezuela is massing troops on the border, we Guyanese need to be made aware of that threat. The international community should be made aware of this aggressive action by Venezuela. They call it what they want to call it, military exercise and all that, coming in light of the recent aggressive claims, the National Assembly talking about referendum to determine the border controversy, calling meetings with all the military top people and all the other top people over this very issue. It is not a coincidence that they're going to now hold a military exercise. And what are we doing? We sit back. Our government is sitting back and twiddling their thumbs. They're sitting back and twiddling their thumbs. So we as Guyanese all have to demand that the government let us know what is going on. Again, I say, if you want the support of the Guyanese, which I'm sure you do, in this issue, you have to tell us what is going on. Tell us what is going on. The president should have had a press conference, not to talk about passport and all them type of nonsense, but to tell us what is going on the border. The vice president, during one of his rantings, should spare a couple of minutes to tell us what is going on the border. I am sure that they are getting feedback because you have a military base there. You have a police station there. I am sure they are getting feedback as to what is transpiring. And you're staying quiet. Again, I remind that when Russia wanted to invade Ukraine, they started to mass troops, saying they're getting some exercise. The Americans warned the world that they were preparing, the Russians were preparing to attack and to invade Ukraine. And it played out the same way. So we've seen aggressive Venezuela massing troops on the border, and we are quiet. The government is quiet. So folks, again, before I close, I invite you to join me tomorrow, 10 o'clock, in front of the Venezuelan embassy. We will be there again to protest. And as we have said, if it's me alone, I'm going to be there. If it's me and my co-defendant, we are going to be there. We have other colleagues, 2 other colleagues sometimes joined. Well, one was there with us all 3 days, and Sherrod showed up and joined us on the second day, Thursday last. We are going to be there again tomorrow from 10 o'clock to show our support for the government in the claim, not the claim, in our knowledge that Essequibo belongs to Guyana, not a blade of grass. So I'm looking to see how many of you students, I know I got a lot of overseas students and so on. I know we get a lot of overseas students, but we're looking to see how many students in Guyana are going to turn up, pass the word. Let's come, let's protest, let's voice our concern about what is going on the border. I remind you that in 1966, Venezuela took over Guyana's part of the island of Ankoko. I remember as a little boy, big in the news. Venezuela took over Ankoko. The border between Venezuela and Ankoko and Venezuela and Guyana runs through Ankoko. So part of Ankoko is Venezuela, part of Ankoko is Guyana. Venezuela took over the whole island. Venezuela took over the whole island. And they have been occupying it illegally since. So I don't know what they're going to do now. You're going to allow them to come into the Essequibo. You're not saying anything. So, folks, I close today by urging you to be safe. Let me bring in, obviously, Mr. Conway can give you some closing remarks if his audio is any better. CC, just some closing remarks if your audio is any better.
All I'm going to say, I'm with you tomorrow, not a blade of grass.
Not a blade of grass. We're going to be there tomorrow. At least the two of us for sure. We are going to be there and we invite you to join us. And in closing, I just want to tell you again about to be safe. You know, I always like to close by asking you to be safe and to remember that you get all sort of things to affect you. COVID still showing around. You have dengue fever. You have the madness on the road and all kind of things. So try to be safe. And God's Spare Life, we'll be here again on Wednesday. I'm saying Tuesday. I'm anxious to get it going. God's Spare Life, we're going to be here again on Wednesday at 11 o'clock for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. Until then, stay safe. Bye.